Perjalanan saya untuk jadi juara memang
The journey to becoming a champion was above my expectation. I wasn't in the top 50 in the world rankings, so I had to start from the qualification stage. You can say my victory at the Singapore Open was due to sheer hard work.
kerja keras yang luar biasa.
Sony Dwi Kuncoro hit the headlines last year after winning at the 2016 OUE Singapore Open. It was his 5th World Superseries triumph, and the Indonesian player had waited 6 long years to stand on top of the podium again. For the 32-year-old, who had struggled for top form after a series of injuries in the last few years, it was a marvelous comeback victory.
Permainan saya bagus.
My game focus and concentration had improved. It was clear in that tournament that I can still be a champion, and it also showed that my game could still be of the same level as those in the top 10.
10 besar dunia.
In his early 20s, the Surabaya native was tipped to follow in the footsteps of Indonesia's men's singles Olympic champion, Taufik Hidayat. By age 25, Sony was a 3-time Asian champion, an Olympic bronze medalist, and a World Championship silver and bronze medal winner. In the early 2000s, he was one of the top-ranked men's singles shuttler, reaching a career best of number 3 in the world in 2004. But the stress and grueling demands of the sport unfortunately took a toll on his body.
Ya bagi semua pemain,
For all players, injury is our most feared enemy. We are not always able to prevent injuries, but I overcame them by being strong mentally, and I worked hard on my recovery. I told myself, even though I was down with injuries, it didn't mean that was the end of my career.
segalanya saya habis di situ.
Sony had endured several hard years facing recurring injuries and poor performances that saw him spiral down the standings. But the Indonesian battled through the testing period and clawed his way back up the elite level, making the top 10 in 2013. And just as he found his form, Sony was dealt another blow. He was dropped from the national side to make way for rising stars.
Sedih ya, pasti saya udah 14 tahun saya.
Obviously, I felt sad. I was with the national team for 14 years, and then I was suddenly taken out of the national setup. I was then still ranked in 10th or 12th, but I told myself not to think about it. I tried to prove that even though I'm no longer in the team, I can still give good performances and win tournaments.
Meskipun saya tidak di national team.
Leaving the national setup in Jakarta, he returned to his hometown in Surabaya. Despite lacking the resources and expert guidance he had become accustomed to as a national player, Sony was determined to soldier on independently. And he would find guidance and support from his life partner.
Saya tidak ada kepikiran sedikit pun bahwa
I never thought that my wife would be my coach. After my time at the national team, I went back to Surabaya to continue my training. I tried to look for a suitable coach, but after some time, I felt that the programs and the directions given to me were not suitable for me. Little by little, my wife, who is a former athlete herself and familiar with the ins and outs of badminton, slowly started to give me directions and guidance that I needed. So I realized that we could actually work quite well together.
sini-sini kok cocok atau sesuai dengan saya.
With his wife by his side, a rejuvenated Sony began to plot his comeback. In Singapore last year, the Indonesian shuttler showed that he still had it, seeing off younger opponents and claiming one of the most high-profile scalps in the tournament, 2-time Olympic champion Lin Dan in the semi-finals. He continued his fairy tale run in the final, a long overdue victory after overcoming Son Wan-ho from Korea.
Kalau dilihat, saya lebih tua.
Looking at our age, I am of course older, but age is not everything. Because in badminton, one has to look at technique, mental strength, and strategy. Those are more important. One's physique is also key, but not 100% crucial. Son Wan-ho is a very good player. I've been training and working hard, and I've seen how he played. So I just did my best.
Ya, saya berusaha untuk yang terbaik.
That victory in Singapore propelled his world ranking from 56th to 37th. Sony has yet to repeat the feat, but the success in Singapore has motivated him to continue to put in the hard work.
Yang saya rasakan waktu itu saya udah bisa.
When I reached third in the world rankings before, I knew that I was a capable player. Even now, I know I can still play at that level, but it's just that at this moment, my performances are inconsistent. My game is not as stable as before, so I'm still looking at the areas where I can improve.
Kadang sekarang ini yang belum stabil di situ.
The 32-year-old has many good years left in him, and thoughts of retirement are far off, as Sony is not done yet with competitive badminton.
Persaingan saya masih ada di situ.
I still have that competitive streak in me, just like Lindan and Lee Chong-wei. They can do it, so why can't I? That is how I motivate myself. As long as I have the chance to play badminton, I will continue.
Tangis itu akan saya berusaha di situ.
Sony has been in the competitive badminton scene for close to 2 decades, and the rise and fall in his career has made him more resilient and determined.
Menjadi seorang juara sampai saat ini tidak.
It's not easy to become a champion. I started playing badminton when I was 9 years old. I left school for badminton, and I have been playing since then. It would be a pity if I left the sport because of injury or decided to retire just like that without reaching my best. Even if I win today, I will still continue to learn and train. If I lose, I will still continue to train and work hard. You don't stop trying. You perfect your skill, and this will only make you a better player.
Perfect itu kita tetap selalu belajar.
For Sony Dwi Kuncoro, as long as he still has the driving passion and desire to achieve great things in the sport, he will continue to reach the highest level.